"Ah, spring," said the good knight Sir Brian Neville Smythe. "How could it be better, James?" Sir James Eckert, Baron de Melancontrie at River-Oak, riding beside Sir Brian, was caught slightly off guard by the question. True, the sun was shining beautifully, but it was still a little chilly by his own personal 20th century standards, and he was grateful for the padding underneath his armor. Brian, he was sure, was feeling, if anything, a little on the warm side. Certainly he seemed to find the day balmy. And Dafydd ap Hywel, riding a little behind them, wearing nothing but ordinary archer's clothes, including a leather jerkin studded with metal plates, should, by Jim's standards, also be feeling chilly. But Jim was ready to bet that he was not either. There was, in fact, some reason for Brian's reaction. Last year, it had been good weather for them all, both in France and in England all through the summer, but the fall had made up for that. Autumn had been steady rain, and the winter had been steady snow. But now the winter and the snow had passed, and spring was upon the land even as far north as here in Northumberland, next to the Scottish border. It was toward this border that Jim, along with Brian and Dafydd, was now riding. Jim woke suddenly to the fact that he had not answered Brian. An answer would be needed. If he did not echo the other's cheerful sentiments about the weather, Brian would be sure that he was ailing. That was one of the problems that Jim had learned to accustom himself to in this parallel 14th century world in which he and his wife Angie had found themselves. To people like Sir Brian, either everything couldn't be better, or else you were ailing. Ailing meant that you should dose yourself with all sorts of noxious concoctions, none of which could do any good at all. It was true that the 14th century knew a few things about medicine, though these were usually in the area of surgery. They could, and did, cut off a gangrenous limb, without the use of an anesthetic, of course, and they were sensible enough to cauterize any wound that seemed to have infected. Jim lived in dread of getting wounded in some way when he was away from home and could not let Angie, the Lady Angela de Melancontrie at River-Oak, his wife, take care of his doctoring.